The Voraxian research vessel Infinite Curiosity hung in low orbit above Earth, its hull gleaming like a pearl against the black void. Inside the xenobiology lab, Dr. Thexikar adjusted his optical sensors, studying the small, black and white creature contained within the quantum field barrier. Fascinating, he chittered to his assistant Velrin. The humans call this specimen Mellivora capensis, common designation, honey badger. Velrin consulted her datapad, her crystalline fingers dancing across the interface. Mass approximately 12 kilograms. Neural capacity, minimal compared to sentient species. Threat assessment? She paused, her antenna twitching with confusion. Sir, the scanner registers it as no threat. Category 5, essentially harmless. Thexikar's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. The Voraxian Empire had been cataloging Earth's wildlife for 3 cycles now, carefully documenting each species before formal first contact. Their technology was flawless, capable of analyzing DNA, measuring aggression hormones, calculating bite force, and predicting behavioral patterns with 99.7% accuracy. Excellent. Lower the barrier. Let us begin the standard examination protocol. The shimmering field dissipated with a soft hum. For exactly 2 seconds, nothing happened. The honey badger's dark eyes surveyed the laboratory with an intelligence that the scanners had somehow failed to measure. It observed the tall insectoid aliens, their delicate exoskeletons, their thin limbs designed for a low-gravity homeworld. It noted the expensive equipment, the blinking lights, the faint scent of fear pheromones that the Voraxians didn't realize they were releasing. Then it moved. Thexikar barely had time to register the blur of black and white before the creature was on him. Claws that the scanners had deemed insufficient for combat tore through his lab coat and into the soft tissue beneath his carapace. The doctor's scream was a high-pitched whistle that echoed through the ship's corridors. Impossible, Velrin shrieked, stumbling backward. The threat assessment, it said. The honey badger released Thexikar, who collapsed in a heap and turned its attention to the assistant. It didn't charge. It didn't need to. It simply walked toward her with the confidence of an apex predator that had never learned fear. Velrin activated her emergency defense shield, military-grade technology that could withstand plasma fire. The honey badger looked at the shimmering barrier, tilted its head, and then proceeded to dig underneath it. In seconds, it had bypassed a shield that cost more than a small starship. The lab descended into chaos. The creature moved through the space like a furry tornado of destruction. It shattered specimen containers with casual swipes of its paws, sending carefully preserved samples floating in zero-gravity containment fields. It climbed up equipment racks that should have been impossible to scale, knocking over devices worth millions of credits. When a security drone attempted to subdue it with a neural stunner, the honey badger simply shook off the blast that would have incapacitated a Voraxian for hours and destroyed the drone with its teeth. Security to Lab 7. Velrin screamed into her communicator. We have a code Crimson. Repeat code Crimson. The ship's AI chimed in, its voice artificially calm. Analyzing threat. Scanning creature. Species identified Mellivora capensis. Threat level 0. No action required. Override. Manual override. Velrin dodged as the honey badger launched itself at her face. The AI is malfunctioning. But the AI wasn't malfunctioning. It was simply doing what Voraxian technology had always done, calculating threats based on size, strength, and logical behavioral parameters. What it couldn't calculate was the sheer, unreasonable audacity that evolution had bred into this particular Earth species. The honey badger had no concept of knowing when to quit. It had never learned that some battles weren't worth fighting. Over millions of years, while other species developed intelligence or speed or camouflage, the honey badger had evolved something far more terrifying. Absolute, unshakable confidence backed by surprising capability and pain tolerance that bordered on supernatural. The security team arrived in full combat armor, wielding plasma rifles designed to stop rampaging megafauna from the death worlds of the Perseus arm. 6 trained warriors entered the lab, their weapons primed. The honey badger was eating through a wall panel, apparently trying to access the ship's wiring. Subdue the creature, Commander Zixtel ordered. Non-lethal force only. The humans will want their specimen returned, intact. What followed would later be described. in official reports as the incident and in unofficial bar conversations as the day a creature the size of a house pet took down an entire security detail. The honey badger dodged plasma nets, shrugged off stunner blasts, and when one unfortunate guard got too close, it demonstrated why humans had deemed its bite force impressive enough to crack tortoise shells. The Varaxian's armor didn't stand a chance. By the time reinforcements arrived, the honey badger had destroyed 3 million credits worth of equipment, injured 9 personnel, and somehow triggered a cascade failure in the waste recycling system. It sat in the center of the lab, covered in various colored fluids from broken specimen tanks, eating something it had found in the wreckage that definitely wasn't food. Captain Throlvin himself descended to the laboratory level, his purple command robe swishing behind him. He stared at the carnage, his compound eyes wide with disbelief. One creature did this? His voice was barely a whisper. One small, supposedly harmless creature? Velrin, nursing a damaged arm, nodded weakly. The scanner said no threat, Captain. They said, I know what they said. The captain's antenna drooped. Contact the human authorities. Tell them we're returning their specimen, immediately. Should we inform them about the incident, sir? Throlvin watched as the honey badger, finally growing bored, wandered toward an air duct and squeezed through an opening that should have been too small for it. Alarms began blaring from another section of the ship. No, the captain said finally. Something tells me they already know exactly what this creature is capable of. Perhaps that's why they didn't warn us. As the Infinite Curiosity descended toward Earth's surface to return its unintended passenger, a human wildlife officer named Patterson waited at the landing site. When the Varaxians explained, in embarrassed, halting tones, what had transpired, Patterson didn't laugh. He simply nodded with the weary recognition of someone who'd dealt with honey badgers before. Yeah, he said, watching as a team of extremely nervous aliens used every piece of containment technology at their disposal to transfer one small, unconcerned creature. The scanners always say that. They're not wrong exactly. A honey badger won't threaten you. But it destroyed our lab. Velrin protested. Patterson shrugged. It won't threaten you, he repeated. It'll just do whatever it wants, and if you happen to be in the way, well, that's your problem, not his. As the Varaxian ship retreated into orbit at speed, its crew began quietly updating their threat assessment algorithms. A new category was created, one that didn't rely on size or strength or neural capacity. They called it Category Human, for creatures that simply didn't care what the scanners said.